friends, Krista here. Thanks for stopping by Books and Jams. Today I'm going to be talking about the rest of the books that I read in the month of October. And I say the rest of the books because I did do a mid-month wrap-up where I already talked about these 9 books. Bloomsbury Girls by Natalie Jenner, The Nature of Disappearing by Kimmy Cunningham Grant, The Last Word by Taylor Adams, The Fifth Avenue Story Society by Christy Cambron, Can't Help Falling by Courtney Walsh, The Authenticity Project by Claire Pooley, Nosy Neighbors by Freya Sampson, and The Nightmare House by Sarah Allen, and Why We Read by illustrated by Ellen Surrey, with quotes from a lot of different people. So if you want to know more about my thoughts of any of these books, you'll have to go and watch that mid-month wrap-up that I did a couple weeks ago. But I do have another stack here of books to talk about, and they're not actually all here. Actually, 4 of them are not here, and so I'm going to do those ones first before I forget what they are. Some of the books that I read that I don't have a copy of are the first 2 journals of Emma M. Lyon, the Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon by Beth Brower. I really loved these. Both of them are about a 4-hour audiobook, maybe a little more or a little bit less, but I listened at increased speed, so it was even less than that. And they were just a delight. I think they're Regency. I don't know my eras. They're historical in feel and in content. We follow the journals. They're the journals of Emma, who is a young woman, almost 21-year-old woman, who has an inheritance of this house, but she has a in-law, like this guy who lives there, who it was stipulated that he could live there as long as he wanted, but he also had control of her finances until she turned 21, and he was misusing her funds ultimately because he didn't really like her. They've had a falling out and he didn't like her. Emma herself is such a unique character. I really enjoy learning about her and how she combats this dude who's messing with her money. And it was just, they were fun and drama-filled journal entries, and they felt very personable. I felt like I really got to know her through these journals. I think Beth Brower did a really great job, and I really look forward to continuing. I think I gave the first one 5 stars and the second one 4 stars, but really they're just both fantastic, and I look forward to reading more. Then, while I was away on my retreat, I did read on my Kindle. I read The Fake Out by Sharon M. Peterson. Amanda has been urging me for years to read Sharon M. Peterson, knowing that I would really like her style of writing and her rom-com vibes. And she was right. I should have read something by her a long time ago. I do have one book of hers on my shelves, but I did borrow The Fake Out, or I did buy The Fake Out on Kindle while we were there. And it was so much fun. The female main character is a librarian, and the male main character is a football player, professional football player. He is the sunshine to her grumpy. There is a mayor in town who's an ex-boyfriend of hers that is just the worst and trying to cut the library budget over and over. And her and her best friend kind of do a few practical jokes to kind of get under the mayor's skin and kind of get back at him a little bit. But yeah, the romance between the librarian and the football player was really lovely. It's a very sweet romance. We do not go beyond kissing in this book. Not even any talk of beyond that. So it was very proper and sweet. Just funny. I laughed out loud multiple times while reading it. It was an easy 5 stars for me. Probably one of my favorite rom-coms that I've read in a long time, if not ever. I don't usually find rom-coms to be super memorable, which is why I don't often give them 5 stars. But because I just truly, really enjoyed this one, I'm just going to go ahead and give it 5 stars. Do I remember their names? No. Peter is the mayor. I remember that. Allie is the best friend. Why can't I remember the main characters' names? I don't know. The 4th book that I don't have a copy of is the one that I read right at the end of October. And it is one of my NetGalley books. Since I didn't do a NetGalley vlog in October, I'm hoping to do one very early on in November. So I will talk about this a little bit more. But I read Sense and Suitability by Pepper Basham. She's another rom-com author that I do really enjoy. She's a Christian fiction author, and her books have a tiny bit more faith in them. Sharon M. Peterson is a Christian writer, but she doesn't write Christian fiction. There's no real faith or God content in her books, but they're just super squeaky clean, like 0 swearing, 0 steamy scenes, all of that. Pepper Basham is very similar, but with a touch a touch more of faith content in them, but again, not very, very much. But Sense and Suitability was really fun. This was her first foray into a Regency romance. And I think this is just the vibes that I'm looking for right now. I was really enjoying this one too. I think I just basically gave most things 4 stars as per usual. In this one, we follow another young woman named Emmeline. She's had 2 failed seasons, and there was this guy 2 seasons ago that she kind of fell in love with, and he made promises to her, and then she was supposed to meet him out in the garden, and he was a no-show. Just wrote her a quick note. Everything has changed, and everything did change from that point on. So now she has an overbearing aunt who has come to help her with this season, determined that she will be married by the end of the season. Her and her sister, Emmeline, and her sister have such a fun relationship with each other. I really enjoy their interactions, especially as the aunt is giving them her lessons on how to be a proper lady. And then we have Simon, who was the guy that ditched her 2 years before. He is now kind of back in the picture. He is now a lord, maybe a viscount. I don't know. He's inherited some property, lots of deaths in his family, lots of responsibilities now on his shoulders because of mishandled funds by other members of his family, but he is now bearing the brunt of it, including caring for his 3 young siblings. And I love anytime that there's kids involved, and Simon just is learning how to be a father figure, and he doesn't do everything perfectly by any means, but he's so eager to learn and not make mistakes that he has made in the past. And their 2 lives, Emma and Simon's lives, intersect again, and sparks are still flying, even though she's really, really angry with him and that he messed up big time. It was good. It was such a good story. I really enjoyed it. It was just the kind of vibes that I was needing at this moment in time. So 4 stars for me. Now we're on to the books that I have here in my pile. And I did have one DNF. I had the postcard by Anne Barrist is my Patreon pick for the month of October. And I don't know if it was just too heavy or I just wasn't getting into it. I made it over 150 pages, so I feel like I gave it a good old try. This is one that I may come back to at some point because I didn't DNF it for content or that the writing was really bad. I just wasn't getting into it. I did really like the historical aspects of it, but when we got to the modern day or more current day where they're trying to find out who sent this postcard and all of that, I kind of lost a lot of interest then. I was into it when we were telling the historical part of these members of her family. I couldn't make out if this was a memoir, if this was a biography of her family. Like, what was this? I think it's fiction, but it's told as though it weren't, like as though it were real. And it is based on her family and her family's stories. So it was confusing to me. I just don't think it was the right time for me to read this. It does get pretty good ratings and all of that, but this is a library book. It's going back to the library and I did not read it. Another one that I did not end up reading, guys, I feel like a failure for this one because this is my Patreon book club book for the month, The Borrowed Life of Frederick Fife by Anna Johnston. And I know that I will enjoy this. It has a fun premise. Frederick Fife gets mistaken for Bernard, who was this man from a nursing home. And Bernard had died, actually. And the nursing home staff think that Frederick is Bernard. They must look similar. And they whisk him into the wheelchair. And I don't know. He ends up at this nursing home living under the assumed identity of Bernard. That's about as far as I got. I didn't get very far. I'm on chapter 8, 45 pages in. Not very far. I think the problem is I started listening to this on my drive back to Virginia from Tennessee, and it was putting me to sleep. I wasn't staying awake. And I think that got in my head. So then as I tried to read it throughout this week here and there, picked it up a little bit, read another chapter or two, and I just wasn't feeling it. This is staying on my shelves. I'm not selling it on Pango. I will try again. I think it was just a right now. I just couldn't do it. So I feel really bad because this is the first time. I think I've had my Patreon for 3 years now, and this is the first time I've just outright not read the book. I've DNF'd a couple times, but that was because of content or different reasons. The writing was really, really bad. This one, I just didn't get to it. I just didn't get to it. But I have 4 other books here that I did get to. One of them I'll be speaking about later tonight. Today's Saturday when I'm filming this. Later tonight, I will be talking about Air by Sabata here with Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand, and many of you who've been reading along with us as we read the Ember and the Ashes series throughout the second half of this year. Air is her newest. It takes place in the same world as the Ember and the Ashes series, but 20 years later. It was fantastic. I finished reading this while on my retreat, listened to it a good portion of my drive to Tennessee, most of it on my drive to Tennessee, and then finished it the next day as I sat out on the dock watching the sunrise, and it blew my mind. There was a couple of things at the end that I came inside the house, I'm like, oh my word, Sarah, you need to keep reading this book because it's just so good. I think Sabata here does such a great job with world building, and especially with her characters. I really like her characters and how so many of them have a character arc and you follow them, and the way she wove this story together, I just really, really appreciate it. And I'm so excited to talk about this with some friends in just an hour and a half from now. It's going to be such a good discussion. And I think this is the first in a duology that is set in that same world. So I can't tell you much about it because some of the characters from the first series are in this as well, but I feel like a lot of that would be spoilery. But in this one we do follow, I'll just give you an orphan, an outcast, and a prince, and a killer who will bring an empire to its knees. So I'm really excited to talk about this, everyone. 5 stars. I just love the series so much. So much. I think I put this one on my TBR Harvest game that I played. Ash Garden by Michelle A. Berry completes a series for me, the Plotting the Stars middle grade series. And I thought it was a good series conclusion. Honestly, I don't remember much about it right now, except that they travel to another planet again, and this one has a lot of ash. It's been burned, and this issue with plants being toxic or not toxic, which runs through the whole series, is another part of this one as well. Feeding the people of the universe is becoming an issue. There's a bad guy who's making fake food, chemical junk, and these kids are convinced that they can grow plants that will help feed the world, ultimately. There's a group of people that are called the Reps, that there's something special about them, but there's been a race issue between like regular humans and the Reps, not regular humans, but humans and the Reps all the way through the series as well. And so that kind of comes to a head in here. I just think it wrapped up a lot of storylines really, really well. It kept me gripped while I was reading it. I really like Maya and her friendships. And I do think this portrayed how friendships change so much during these middle school years, like early teen years, because there is a situation with one of her friendships that's been through the other 2 books that things drastically change in this book. And I'm so glad that that's addressed because it's realistic. And I think it was handled really well. It was hard for Maya to see this friendship change, and that's real as well. So I really appreciated that part of the story. And I'm so glad that I finished another series. Woo woo. The 3rd orange book. Remember at the beginning of the month, I was having a hard time. I DNF'd a ton of books. And so I just went to my shelves and grabbed these 3 orange books. And at the beginning of the month, I read the first 2. And then I did go ahead and read The Dead Romantics at the end of the month here. And this is by Ashley Poston. It was fine. I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed The Fake Out as far as like a romance goes. I found it to be a bit predictable. I kind of understood where it was going very early on, so it didn't take me by surprise at all. It was cute. It was a little more steamy than I would like. At times I had to skip through a couple different scenes in there. But the premise of it is that this girl, our main character, Florence, she's a ghostwriter for a famous romance author. Nobody really knows, obviously, that she is the one writing these books. So people kind of think of her as a bit of a failure. She has written 1 book and that's it. But really, she's written a couple more. But she grew up, her dad ran a nursing home, not a nursing home. Her dad ran a funeral home, and all of her family was involved in this funeral home business. And her dad had the ability to see and communicate with ghosts. No one else in the family has this special ability except the 2 of them. Florence had a conversation with a new editor in her office, and he's a very handsome fella. But then she goes home because her dad passes away. And then this guy shows up, but he's a ghost. So something has happened to him. And so she begins kind of a friendship with this ghost, turns into romantic in a way, which is just a little strange. It kept my interest. It kept me compelled to continue reading. It was fun, a different twist on things. And I did, like I said, figure out what was going on early on. But I liked the family dynamics. I liked the fact that Florence had left town a long time ago and moved to the big city. And so relationships were a bit strained with her two siblings. And I liked how that family dynamics was addressed and kind of worked through in the course of the story. Yeah, it was cute. I would give it like 3.5 stars maybe. And then the final book to talk about today was a surprise for me. Just one I kind of randomly picked off the shelf. Last Heir to Blackwood Library by Hester Fox. When I was doing the scavenger hunt, I used this for a green on the cover, and I put it on my TBR spinner shelf that sits next to me here. And so I just grabbed it because it is a bit ghosty. So this one takes place post World War I England. And we follow Ivy, who becomes Lady Hayworth. She is she inherits Blackwood Abbey, this big old house estate ultimately. But she has to live in the house, I think, for 2 years in order to fully claim her inheritance, something along those lines. She's got to live there. So she moves to Blackwood Abbey. She's a big reader. She's kind of happy to leave society and run this big home. But it doesn't take long for things to go a little bit weird at the Abbey. She starts forgetting things, getting really bad headaches. And the people who live there and work there, there's, I think, a butler and a housekeeper and a chauffeur, jack of all trades kind of guy. There's 3 people and a maid, 4 people. And she starts having conversations with them and they're like, we've already had this conversation with you. We've already told you this. And it's fun because it was fun as a reader. I'm like, did they really tell her this? Or are they messing with her? Is she a reliable narrator? Is she not? What's going on? It's a little bit ghosty, a little bit dark, very dark, a little creepy, but not too creepy. I kept questioning, what is going on here? What is really going on here? And then as you learn, it just was kind of fun. There's a touch of a romance, which I didn't mind. I found it somewhat believable. And I liked the solution of what was actually going on and how that all played out. I had a lot of fun with it. I'm giving 4 stars. It was fun. It was a fun one. That is it. Those are the 8 books and 1 DNF that I read in the second half of October. Overall, it was a fantastic reading month. I think 17 books altogether, plus a few DNFs here and there, which is amazing for a month that was super busy as well. Before we close things out here, I am going to add a few books to my favorites basket. I'm going to be putting Air in there. I'm actually putting Nature of Disappearing on my cart because I need to, or on my shelf, because I need to talk about this when I do my 5-star predictions wrap up. So that's staying out. But I'm going to go ahead and put Can't Help Falling, Nosy Neighbors, and the Last Heir to Blackwood Library in my favorites basket. If I owned Emma M. Lyon, that would for sure go in there. And if I owned The Fake Out, that would go in there as well. So I might put a little post-it with those 2 books on it as well. But they're just going to go in my favorites basket so that when it gets to the end of the year, I can figure out what was really my favorites of the year. But those are going to go in there from this month's reading. It was a good month. I would love to chat with you about some of your favorite reads from the month of October. What are you currently reading right now? What were some of your favorites? What do you think about the books that I read? All of that jazz. So let's chat down in the comments below. I love chatting with you down there. And if you've made it to the end, but you don't really feel like you have anything to add, go ahead and put a moon or a flame, ashes, right? A fire or a moon in the comments below just to let me know that you were here. And that always helps me to see. I love seeing who's here watching, supporting me in that way. And that's going to be it for me today. Thank you so much again for watching. I really appreciate you very much for being here. And I look forward to chatting with you in another video very soon. Bye.